business economists were marking down their outlook for the U.S. economy. Here's what's happening. The latest survey from the National Association for Business Economics shows its members reduced their forecast for overall growth by 0.4 to just 1.8. They cut their outlooks for most major components, including consumer spending, business investment, and corporate profits. So does the jobs report make the outlook even darker. Joining us now is Greg Dago. He's a survey analyst for NABE and the chief U.S. economist at Oxford. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning.
So tell us, this survey was done before
Yes,
the jobs report.
The timing of the report was quite important.
Well,
early May. So.
Early May? What do you expect would have happened if they had done it afterwards or done it this weekend?
Well, I think if you do it again, if you do the same survey, you would probably see much lower expectations for job growth. And I think that was one of the key elements in the report, is that we actually had quite strong expectations for job growth in the survey, despite the fact that GDP growth was actually marked down about 0.4 for the year, from 2.2 to 1.8.
So how are you processing this shockingly disappointing jobs report? Do you have lipstick in your pockets there? Or are you? What's your take on it?
I always have a little bit of lipstick in my pocket, just because I think you have to take every single jobs report with a little bit of a grain of salt, in a sense, because yes, it wasn't a good report. You had very little job growth numbers. You had the unemployment rate fall down, but for the wrong reasons, because a lot of people dropped out of the labor force, and wage growth essentially stayed relatively flat. But if you look at other labor market indicators, if you look at even the beige book, if you look at initial claims.
But before you go forward,
really
Joe makes a really good point, which is you could dismiss this, except for the revisions to the prior months. That tells you that things are much weaker than we thought. Previously, you brought that 3-month average down from 200,000 to just 116,000. That points to some sort of enduring weakness here, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's a mixture, too, of not only weakness, but also a maturing labor market. And that's something that's often forgotten, is that as we go forward, we're not going to see the 200-plus job growth numbers on a monthly basis. We're going to see job growth numbers closer to 150, maybe even under that. The break-even employment rate for payroll growth is under 150. So we should get used to a much lower pace of growth for jobs in general.
92 million people could start coming back, though.
94
that
now.
Would 94,
almost 95.
And that would ease up on whether we're really at full employment. That's such a big number. And it almost doesn't seem like fair. It's like, well, we're at 4.7% as long as you don't count these people that don't even count anymore, because it's 94 million. That's like such a big number, and it's not everybody. Not everybody's retired and old.
Some are retired, some are kids, right? I mean, that's the total non-labor force.
Before it was always 60.
It's a third of the population almost. I mean, that's the.
But even the underemployment rate has fallen quite sharply, and I think that includes a lot of these discouraged workers, these workers that had been working part-time and that would like full-time jobs.
Part-time for economic reasons. Some of that could be Obamacare. There's some academic evidence that says. Let me get to another aspect.
You know what
of this.
else? You were quick to. I was thinking about this. You were quick to, to give the minimum wage increases. Kudos for Walmart's results. Are you going to now say that maybe minimum wage increases are hurting the jobs?
I think that is a definite possibility, Joe. I think there's a trade-off here between how people live and how many people are working, and it's something that has to be balanced.
And we finally decided GDP is not the number we look at.
Right.
0.5, throw that out. What we're looking at is unemployment. That shows the true strength of the economy. Right. And then once we decide to put our chips there, then that falls off a tip. So there's a lot of reasons. There's
a lot of reasons. I want to get to one aspect of this survey here, which is the effect of political uncertainty. And you're not the first survey to show this, but increasingly, the U.S. elections is seen as having a negative effect on the outlook. If you look at the data that came out in this survey, you find that 57% said the effect of the political uncertainty is negative on the outlook. These are of the NABE economists. And then Larry Summers writing this morning saying that the market is not appropriately discounting the effect of a Trump presidency. What are your members saying about this election?
Well, I think exactly that. So you have 60% of the panelists that expect the uncertainty to have a negative effect on their forecast. And that reflects two things. I think it reflects the uncertainty as to which candidate will be the main candidate for the two parties, but also going forward after the elections take place, what are some of the policies that can be put in place? And I think that's a big question mark when we go into the November elections. What are the potential risks if we get Mr. Trump as president?